And a good afternoon as we welcome you to Watertown as we have a doubleheader for Post State as they take on Watertown in game one, Fargo in game number two. And you can hear both of them right here on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Don't adjust the headset. Don't adjust the radio. It is baseball, not hockey. Jim Lloyd's joining me here in the broadcast or in the booth or in the stands for the Watertown game. As if you're familiar with listening to the White Capitals games, Jim joins me when the Watertown Lakers and the White Capitals play. But here this afternoon, it's Pierre and Watertown for baseball, and Jim's going to join me again. Jim, good to see you again. Good to have you on the broadcast.
Well, it's good to see you. It's usually much chillier when we're sitting side by side, and I really thank you for inviting me to do the broadcast with you today.
Yeah, and so we get a chance now, you get a chance to tell the folks at home what this Watertown team is about. And for this Watertown team, they're going to go with Cale Stevenson on the mound to start the game against Pierre. And as you said before he got on there, he's really turned into that number one guy for Watertown.
He has. Cale is a guy that Watertown baseball for many, many years has asked him to do a lot of different things. And today he's on the mound, and he's been on the mound a lot this year. And he has turned into our number one guy right now. He throws hard. He's got some really good positioning with his ball, and he's just a great athlete. And he'll be fun to watch on the mound today.
And Watertown's coming in going pretty good. Winners of 7 of the last 9. They're now at 12-8. But Pierre is playing just as well. 15 of the last 18 games that Post State has won as they start out 1-3, now 16-6 on the year. So this is going to be these two teams. Something's got to give here this afternoon.
Yeah, it's two pretty hot teams. We went up to Fargo last week and won 3 out of 4, and we've been playing well. And in discussion with you, your team here has also been playing pretty well. So somebody's going to have to win and somebody's going to have to lose, but this should be a good matchup today.
It's Pierre and Watertown here this afternoon from Watertown. First pitch coming up here in just about 13 minutes. We'll step aside for 3 minutes. We'll come back with more of the pregame show. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Watertown as we're getting set for game one of two for Pierre Post State as they'll take on Fargo after this game concludes. We'll go through the starting lineups first for Post State. It'll be Andrew Coverdale leading things off as he plays second. Garrett Stout will bat second and play short. Andy Gordon will be the first batting third. Gray Zabel in the cleanup spot. He's the DH. Cade Hinkle will bat fifth and catch. River Iverson will bat sixth and play left field. Matt Luss is batting seventh, playing center field. Lincoln Tino is the third baseman, batting eighth. A.J. Gayden, who arguably is the hottest hitter for Post State, he is in the number 9 spot as he plays right field here in game number 1. Jack Van Camp is on the mound here for Post State. He went the distance in his last outing as he got another win and continues to do well from the mound for Post State. For the Watertown team, Evan Falconer will lead things off. He's the shortstop. Mason Morris is the center fielder batting second. Dawson Schmidt will bat third and be the right fielder. Mason Evans is the DH in the cleanup spot. Peyton Johnston, the left fielder, batting fifth. Batting fifth. Braxton Latcher is the catcher, batting sixth. Jared Cyrus is the third baseman, batting seventh. Cordell is the first baseman, batting eighth. And Mason Lloyd will round out the order. He bats ninth as he plays second base. Cale Stevenson is on the mound here for Watertown in this first game. And Jim Lloyd joins me here for the first game. And Jim, that's you look up and down the lineup for Watertown and for Pierre too. There could be a lot of hits to go around today.
There is, any of these kids can get hot at any time, and Watertown has some hot hitters too. Braxton Locker's been hitting really well. Cale Stevens, he's going to be pitching today, so he won't be batting, but he's had a hot bat. And Evan Faulkner, of course, he's a kid that's played for Post 17 for a couple of years now, and he leads the team in hits, and he's always a pretty solid kid. So there's some pretty good hitters on both sides.
Yeah, and for Post State, I said A.J. Gayden, he picked up 7 hits over the weekend in those, went 7 for 11 in those 4 games in Minot. He by far had the most hits between altogether between anybody on the team. And although he's hit number 9, boy, that's a tough hit guy to get out. I'm sure Mason Lloyd is a tough out at number 9 too. But those two guys in the bottom of the order, you don't get any breaks when it comes to those two guys.
You don't. I think both lineups are pretty full of hitters. We have Mason Lloyd. Yeah, he's a kid that very rarely strikes out. He has lots of contact with the bat. And Peyton Johnston's a kid on our team that is going to play left field today, and he's a real solid hitter. In fact, we went up to Fargo last weekend, and I think he came out of there with about 15 RBIs. So he can put the bat on the ball.
Yeah, and we'll go through some of the stats for Post State here in just a little bit as they will be the visitors in game 1, of course, because we're here in Watertown, but that they will be the home team in game number 2 as Fargo will be coming to town for a back-to-back games. They'll take on Watertown and the final of the triangular here this afternoon. Ryan Neal, the head coach of Watertown, and for those in Pierre, that name sounds familiar because, well, his brother Tanner Neal is the Pierre Trappers head coach, as the Trappers led their first home game on Friday. But obviously, outside of being familiar with the fact that he is the coach of Watertown, that he's got his brother over in Pierre as the head coach of the Pierre Trappers. Cale Stevenson and Jack Van Camp will be the 2 men on the mound. We're getting closer to first pitch as they are chalking home plates around home plate, the batter's box, and the baselines. We will step aside for 3 minutes, come back with first pitch. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com.
streaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight of the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets threatened, the bombs bursting in air gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
National anthem concluded here this afternoon as we are set for baseball as Post State takes on Watertown. John Winkler alongside Jim Lloyd here for game one. As well, they still got to finish chalking the third baseline before we get started here this afternoon. But Andrew Coverdale will lead things off as he is the second baseman. Garrett Stout will bat second and play shortstop. It'll be Andy Gordon, the number 3 spot, as he's the first baseman. Gray Zabel, the DH, will bat in the cleanup spot. Cade Hinkle is batting fifth at the catcher. River Iverson will bat sixth, playing left field. Seventh and playing center is Matt Lusk. Lincoln Keenel is the third baseman, batting eighth, and A.J. Gayden will round out the order as he bats ninth and plays right field. For Watertown, again, as we go through those starting lineups, Evan Falconer is the shortstop leading off. Mason Morris will bat second, playing center field. Dawson Schmidt is the right fielder, batting third. Mason Evans, the DH, batting fourth in the cleanup spot. Peyton Johnston will play left field and bat fifth. Braxton Locker, the catcher, will bat sixth. Jared Saris is the third baseman, batting seventh. Jaden Cordell is the number 8 hitter, playing first base, and Mason Lloyd will round it out, batting ninth, playing second base. As Cale Stevenson is the man on the mound for Watertown, and we're might be just a little bit behind schedule as we're getting that final line chalk, but also getting that field watered down before we get started. It's a Pierre, the high school team was here last spring as they played in the regional championship game against Sioux Falls Roosevelt, and have not been here since then. But for me, the second time being here, the football stadium turned into the baseball park, and a chance to kind of feel like a little old time there. You get the old, because now since the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, there are no more baseball and football fields together.
Yeah, I think this is the only one in the state of South Dakota, I think, also, that I know of anyway. Yeah, the football, they put the goalpost just behind the pitcher's mound there, and this turns into a football field, and this is where the Watertown Arrows play all their home games. It turns into a really nice baseball field. It's kind of unique. You sit underneath the canopy. Pretty much everybody's covered in the shade, and we're facing right straight about southeast. So it's kind of a real nice vantage point. Good place to see baseball.
And a beautiful day for baseball. And Jim, I've said this a lot too. I say this to everybody, that every time we get a chance to play baseball this summer, it's always a beautiful day. No matter, we had a little bit of some rain, and we had a really hot day with a lot of wind. Still a beautiful day for baseball. Today it's more so that because the temperature is great. There's not a whole lot of wind, just enough to kind of keep you cool, but not a whole lot to affect the ball game. And this is what you like. It's July 1st, and we're having some pretty good weather here for some afternoon baseball.
Yeah, it is nice. The wind is really cooperating with us. We've had a really strong east wind for many days now, and now it looks like it's coming out of the south. Probably not enough to be a factor today. And the other nice thing about this field is dirt. More and more you play around the state and around the country, it's all gone to turf infields and so forth. But this is the old school dirt infield and grass, and you can see the mound has a little wear and tear on it like a lot of the dirt fields do, and kind of old school.
As we wait for first pitch, we'll step aside for 2 minutes, and we will come back and have first pitch for you. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. 2, please. As we welcome you back here to Watertown, we are set for baseball here this afternoon as Cale Stevenson will throw his last warm-up pitch, or last couple warm-up pitches, and just a couple minutes behind schedule. You're listening to KCCR up here, a Riverfront broadcasting station. John Winkler alongside Jim Lloyd. Post State looking for their 17th win of the season. Watertown looking for their 13th win of the season. Post State has played just two more games than Watertown, sitting at 16-6, while Watertown at 12-8. But both teams are coming in playing pretty good baseball. 7 of 9 wins for Watertown, 15 of 18 for Post State in these last games. So something's got to give here this afternoon, and we'll see how things start. It's going to be pretty tough to go 2-0 today because these two teams got to play Fargo, who last year went to the national championship game, the World Series, got second place, but they're just as good as what they were last year.
They are. They're fun to watch.
So Andrew Coverdale will lead things off as we are set for baseball here this afternoon. Cale Stevenson, the starter here in game one, he's going to work from the stretch to open up the ball game. Nobody on as the first pitch comes into Coverdale. Over for strike one, and we are underway here at 1:05 here on this Wednesday afternoon. Glad you could join us here on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Andrew Coverdale as the 0-1 comes across just a bit outside, and it's now 1-1. Coverdale is hitting a 389 coming into the ball game. Had a successful weekend in Minot. Post State went 2-2 over the weekend. Here's the 1-1 pitch, fouled back, and it's now 1-2. Short backstop here this afternoon, so you got to be, although that ball will probably die as it hits the backstop, but you got to be reading the ball good if you're going to try and score from third base on a pass ball.
Yeah, and the bottom of the backstop is concrete even, so that ball's going to come back off of it.
Stevenson will come set. Here's the 1-2 pitch to the leadoff hitter, Coverdale. Popped up in foul territory. Catcher Locker will call for it and barely makes that catch. Looked like he might have had more of his bare hand on it instead of the glove, but the leadoff man is retired. And there's one down here to open up the ball game.
Braxton Locker, our catcher, he's a little unique. He wears sunglasses underneath his mask.
Yeah, you don't see that very often.
No.
You see a little bit of eye black, and maybe the major leagues you'll see those afternoon games where they get the sunglasses on, but there's a lot of things to reflect when you're in a major league ballpark. Here's Garrett Stout. Stevenson, the first pitch. So the left-handed hitting Stout is upstairs for ball one. Stout coming in, hitting .485, near 500 hitter here, on base percentage of .539. As he has really turned it on as of late, really turned it on from this entire part of the season. Now 2-0 to Stout. That one misses low for ball two. Stevenson, he warmed up in the first 2 or 3 pitches, got to the backstop. He didn't find the rhythm there until midway part of his warm-up pitches. The 2-0 is outside, now 3-0 here to Stout, but that's why you warm up.
That's right.
You don't just go out there and start throwing right away. It gives you a chance to get those out of the way. Count is 3-0 here to Garrett Stout from the stretch. Here's the 3-0. Stout taking all the way, and it's at the knees for strike one.
It'll be interesting to watch Kale today because he's a pitcher that actually gets stronger. The more pitches he throws, the stronger he gets.
As Stevenson will come set. Here's the 3-1 to Stout. Grounded foul, now 3-2. And that's interesting, too. And a lot of these, sometimes, and you do see that, I should say, you see that sometimes quite often with guys starting to get a little bit, they find their rhythm after the first inning or, maybe midway through the second inning. But it's really, you love to see a team jump on a pitcher in the first inning because that really, once he starts to settle in, as a 3-2 is over for strike three. And there's 2 down as Stout was about to toss his bat for ball 4. Instead, will make his way back to the dugout, and that'll bring up Andy Gordon.
That pitch was on the inside corner and probably barely on the inside of the corner.
I was going to say, that's one where, Stout, he was about to toss his bat and then kind of looked back and with a little puzzled face of that getting called strike 3. But there are 2 down, and that'll bring in Andy Gordon, the first baseman here in game 1 for Post State. Yeah, that first inning is so crucial for a pitcher and for hitters as well. But for that pitcher to get a 0 in that first inning, you really feel like everything's in command after going from that spot. The first pitch is a swing and a miss by Gordon, and it's 0-1.
We have a great vantage point here. John, you're set up right directly behind the plate.
Yeah, not in the press box here this afternoon, but right behind home plate. And not up top like we were last spring. The 0-1 pitch is at the knees, now 0-2.
It's a good day to be outside anyway, isn't it?
Absolutely. Get a chance to be in the shade, a little bit of breeze that comes through. This is a you can't ask for better weather on July 1st than what we have right now. Stevenson will come set. Here's the 0-2 to Gordon. Curveball that Gordon will launch into left center field. Going back onto left fielder. Dives and can't make the catch. Johnston couldn't grab it. Gordon will stop at second, and he's got a 2-out double. And that'll bring up Gray Zabel with a man in scoring position here with 2 away.
Peyton Johnson had to go a long ways for that, and I think it may have even hit his glove. He'll come up with that catch. He's done it more than once already this season.
And Stevenson hung the 0-2 curveball, and Gordon is not one to get fooled on too many pitches and probably expected an 0-2 curve. And one that Stevenson probably would like to have back is maybe put that a little bit lower, below the knees on an 0-2 pitch. But Gordon did a good job of keeping his hands back and driving it out to left field. And here's Gray Zabel trying to drive in that first round of the ball game. Stevenson, the first pitch to Zabel. That one will be over at the knees for strike 1. Zabel uses all portions of the field, is not a strict pull hitter, as the big frame left-handed hitting might expect to see. But he is one that can spray it all over the place. The 0-1 pitch is upstairs, 1-1. Of course, Zabel going to go play at North Dakota State this coming fall, be the football player for the Bison, as he will report next week, right after the 4th of July, that Monday after the 4th of July. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Zabel will rip it to the right side. That's through for a base hit. Gordon will round third. The center fielder Morris comes up. The throw to the plate is going to get cut off. Gordon will score, and Zabel will end up at second on the throw. And it's a 2-out RBI single from Gray Zabel, and Post State has taken a 1-0 lead here with 2 down in the top of the first inning.
That ball looked like it was hit right at the second baseman, but that thing really had some zip on it, and second baseman didn't have a chance.
So here's Cade Hinkle also with a man in score position. A base hit could make it a 2-0 ball game. That's with the first 2 guys retired, trying to find a way to get the first 2 runs of the ball game with the 2-out rally. Instead, the first pitch is grounded back to the pitcher, and Stevenson, he'll underhand flip it to Cornell at first, and that will retire the side here in the top of the first inning. But 1 run scores on 2 hits in the inning, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We played a half inning, and Post State has a 1-0 lead as Watertown comes to the plate. You listen to Post State Baseball. Today it's KCCR, and today it's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to Watertown, as we head to the bottom of the first inning, as we go through the order for the Watertown baseball team. Evan Falconer will lead things off as he's playing shortstop. Mason Morris is the center fielder batting second. Dawson Schmidt will play right field batting third. Mason Evans, the DH, batting in the cleanup spot. Peyton Johnston will be the left fielder batting fifth. Braxton Locker's the catcher batting sixth. Jared Cyrus is the third baseman batting seventh. Jaden Cordell is the first baseman batting eighth. And it'll be Mason Lloyd, the second baseman, as he rounds out the order against Jack Van Camp here this afternoon for the Pierre Post States, trying to pick up another win. Van Camp from the mound has been dominant for this Post State team, as he's done a very good job of limiting the runs the last several times that he has been on the mound, as his ERA is at a 1.90. His whip is just at a 1, and he is 2-2 on the season. With those last two games he started with wins. The first pitch is outside for ball 1 to Evan Falconer.
Evan's done a really nice job for us this year, leading off, and he's pretty good at getting the ball rolling. The
1-0 pitch. That one's grounded back off the glove of Van Camp. Gets to Stout. The throw to first is in time. That's your routine 1-6-3 putout here to open up the bottom of the first inning. And that'll bring in Mason Morris, the center fielder. Don't see that very often to get the old 1-6-3 putout.
Yeah. Mason Morris is one of our few left-handers that we have in the lineup. Good wheels though, and he'll bunt his way on once in a while.
The left-hander Van Camp will deal to the left-hander Morris. First pitch is fouled back, and it's 0-1. And for the difference between Watertown and Post State is the amount of left-handed hitters in their lineup.
Yeah.
Post State they can roll out 4 to 5 left-handed hitters per game, and Watertown doesn't have that luxury. The 0-1's a swing and a miss, now 0-2.
I think we have 2 left-handers, I think is what we have.
So much different batting style for Watertown. Here's the 0-2 pitch from Van Camp. There's a ground ball to the right side. Coverdale will field the throw to first, and there's 2 quickly get down here in the bottom of the first inning, as it will bring up Dawson Schmidt, the right fielder, the number 3 hitter here in game 1 for Watertown.
Dawson comes from a long line of baseball athletes in his family, and he's a good athlete himself. Plays a really good receiver in football. He's just a junior. Great athlete.
First pitch to the right-hander. Comes inside, almost hits him, but it's taken for ball 1. Van Camp working quickly. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Fly ball out towards center field. Matt Lusk cannot see it. It'll be called by the right fielder, Gaydon. He'll make the catch, and that will retire the side. Closer to Lusk, but he didn't see that fly ball. But for his sake, thankfully, Gaydon did, and that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. 1 full inning complete here at Watertown. Post State leads Watertown 1-0. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the second here at Watertown as we welcome you back in. John Wickler alongside Jim Lloyd. It will be 6, 7, and 8 due up here for Post State. River Iverson, Matt Lusk, and Lincoln Keenels. As Iverson wouldn't be surprised if he drops down a bunt here on the first pitch, try and get an infield single. He's I couldn't tell you exactly because it doesn't show on the stats how many infield singles he has, but River Iverson, as we try and find him here on the stats, he's hitting .396, and I would bet you that's a good reason why it's nearing 400 is all the bunt singles that he has. Cale Stevenson, the first pitch. Iverson will show bunt and pull it back for ball one. So it wasn't too far off there, Jim.
You were right. You were right.
Well, watching this team enough here this summer, I've been able to pick up on what some of these players like to do. Wouldn't be surprised again, the third baseman starting to move in a little bit, and Saris, and the 1-0 pitch. Iverson not bunting, but takes it for ball two, and it's now 2-0 here to lead off hitter, number 6 hitter in the order. He'll be followed by Matt Lusk and Lincoln Knowles. If anybody reaches base, A.J. Gaden here to open up the top of the second. 1-0 is our score. Post State scored a 2-out RBI single from Gray Zabel. The 2-0 pitch. Iverson will foul it out of play on the right side, and it's now 2-1. And Stevenson, the first two guys down in order, without having a ball put in fair territory, but a double by Gordon and a single from Zabel quickly change what could have been a 1-2-3 inning to giving up that first run of the ball game. Here's the 2-1 pitch. That one hits Iverson, and again he's hit by a pitch. It's either he gets on by a bunt single or an infield single, or gets hit by a pitch. It seems just about every time that he is reaching first base, that's what it ends up being.
And it appears being hit by a pitch doesn't bother him because he just stood there and took it. So he's done that before.
And it looked like it got him right on the left forearm. And the way it sounded, too, it didn't sound like that would feel too good, but apparently to him, it was just like he got hit by a piece of paper and decided to jog down to first. Here's Matt Lusk, the center fielder. He digs in for the first time. Runner on first here with nobody out. The first pitch to Lusk is outside for ball one. Post States, they come in, have hitting 3 grand slams this season. 3 in 3 straight games. 3 of their last 4 games that hit a grand slam. Matt Lusk and Jack Van Camp, each with 1. Garrett Stout hit a walk-off grand slam against Mandan last week.
That has to be unique to this team, I would think.
Oh, my goodness. And you don't see that very often in high school baseball. You don't hardly see 1 grand slam. They hit 1 against Yankton. Then they hit another one against Sioux Falls East. And then had 1 game where they didn't hit a grand slam. And then the next game they hit a walk-off grand slam. So 3 of the last 4 games they had played, they had hit a grand slam. The 2-0 is swinging a miss, now 2-1.
Well, that can change the game in a hurry.
Absolutely. And both games, it was a 2-1 lead for Post State when Lusk hit the grand slam, then a 3-1 lead for Post State when Van Camp hit a grand slam. And, of course, it was a 3-3 game, and Stout walked it off with a grand slam against Mandan. Pickoff attempt, and then he gets through the first baseman, Cordell's glove, and Iverson will take off for second, and he will stand up as it'll be an air charge, I believe, to the pitcher in Stevenson. And there's the first air of the ball game from either side.
Stevenson has a pretty good move over there to first. That time he's threw over there and looked like he maybe overthrew it just a little bit and went in the dirt.
So Iverson now stands at second, and he is in scoring position here with nobody out in the top of the second inning. Stevenson comes set. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Popped up, and it'll get out of play. It's now 2-2. Post States, again, winners of 15 of their last 18. Watertown winners of 7 of their last 9. So both teams playing some pretty good baseball here on coming into July 1st. Here's the 2-2 to the center fielder, Matt Lusk. Outside now, 3-2. And it's hard to believe that it's actually July 1st.
It does. We got off to a late start. We didn't start playing baseball until, almost about a month ago or less than a month ago when we started playing, and here we are. It seems like we're over halfway through the season. Yeah,
June 7th for Post State was their first game, as they've now played 22. Watertown's played 20 games. And granted, those doubleheaders, they add those games up pretty quick, so it's not like you've played 22 days of baseball. You've played just 22 games, but it's still a lot of baseball to be played in less than a month.
Yeah, we talked about a reduced season this year, and game-wise, it's really not going to be.
There's a fly ball to center field, backing up on his Morris. He will make the catch as he got behind it and kept Iverson over at second, as there's now 1 down here in the top of the second inning. And then I'll bring up Lincoln Knowles, the third baseman. And Jim, Lincoln's going to be a guy that you're going to hear a lot about from Pierre in the next several years. He's going to be a sophomore, very good basketball player, has made his way onto the Senior Legion team here for baseball, and will most likely get some varsity playing time, could potentially be the starting quarterback for the Pierre Governors football team this coming fall.
Boy, those kids are fun to watch when they come in really young like that and make a team, because they can really be the anchor of a lot of teams through their high school career.
First pitch is upstairs for ball one, and he's a guy that will, going into next year with a lot of these players leaving, there's a lot of seniors on this post-state team, and a lot of new faces will be on post-state next year, and he'll be a guy that can really be a steady fixture and kind of a calming guy, even though he'll just be through his sophomore year. 1-0 is over at the black, and it's now 1-1.
Yeah, they become natural leaders also, because, a lot of the younger guys come up, know that player has been in those certain situations, and it's automatically they're leaders.
Here's the 1-1 pitch from Stevenson to Keenels. Curveball that misses upstairs, doesn't break, and it's now 2-1. Keenels right now for Senior Legion hitting just 164, but he's had a couple of games at the Junior Legion ranks, thrown a couple times for the Junior Legion team. I believe it was told hitting about 500 for the Junior Legion team when he's gone back down there to get some more work, as that one's popped up on the right side into shallow right field, and Schmidt will come on to make the catch, and there's now 2 down, and that'll bring up A.J. Gaden. But for Lincoln Keenels, it's a big step going from Junior Legion to Senior Legion. Obviously it's not Major League Baseball, but it's almost like that jump from AAA to the majors. You see a guy playing really well in AAA and gets up to the majors, and takes a little bit of time to adjust, because the speed of the game is just so much different, even though it's that, use air quotes, that small of a step. Stevenson will come set. Here's the first pitch to Gaden. That one misses upstairs, and it's 1-0.
Yeah, you see players in a lot of different sports. They're really good players at a certain level, and some can take that next step, and some it's really slow to take that next step.
Gaden, again, he's the hottest hitter for Post State. 7 for 11 this past weekend in Minot. The 1-0 pitch. There's a ground ball to the left side. Fielded by the shortstop Falconer. The throw to first pulls the first baseman off the bag, but Cardell is able to keep it, or put the tag applied to Gaden to retire the side, and that will strand the leadoff man at second. No runs, no hits, no error, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. We have played an inning and a half. Post State has a 1-0 lead over Watertown. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR. Today it's KCCR.com. Bottom of the second inning, it is going to be 4, 5, and 6 here for Watertown. Mason Evans, Peyton Johnston, and Braxton Locker. Here is Mason Evans, the DH. And for the Watertown Lakers, he got a heavy slap shot. I'm sure he's got a pretty heavy bat up here, too.
I was going to say that should be a name that you recognize coming out of our mouths. He's been a really good hockey player for years for Watertown.
Here's the 1-0 pitch is ground to the left side. Stout will field. The long throw to first is in time. The leadoff man is retired here in the bottom of the second, and that'll bring up Peyton Johnston, the left fielder. Didn't give us a whole lot of time to talk about.
Yeah, we'll get him next time. We got plenty to talk about.
That's right. He'll at least have to come back up to the plate one more time in this ball game. Peyton Johnston, the left fielder, he will bat next. We followed by Braxton Locker. Pierre and Watertown, they met the high school teams met last year in Brookings, I believe it was. The first pitch is upstairs for ball 1. But this year for Watertown, they were not going to play high school baseball. And it was a good call because there was no high school baseball.
Nobody did.
Yeah, it didn't even matter. It's not 1-1 here to Peyton Johnston. They decided to get that, was going to get the Legion season started earlier than what they did the year before. It's now 2-1. But they decided not to play high school baseball this year. Here's the 2-1. Swing and a miss, now 2-2.
Peyton Johnson, there's nobody on base right now, but he's our guy. He's our RBI leader. When people are on base, he's the guy you want up at the plate. He's a pretty solid hitter, a real good contact hitter.
The 2-2 from Van Camp is on the outside edge, taken for strike 3. And there's now 2 down here in the bottom of the second inning. And what an emphatic punch out by the home plate umpire.
Not many hitters are going to hit that one. You know, Peyton's a right-handed batter, and that was a curveball. That was a good pitch.
And Van Camp, and that's kind of for Van Camp. If he gets the outside corner call, especially the right-handed hitters, he loves to just continue to fill up that spot as the first pitch is taken for strike 1 to Braxton Locker. He will fill up that bottom portion of that zone on the outside corner all game long. It's now 0-2 here to Locker. And Van Camp's a strike away from another 1-2-3 inning. And he's making these Watertown hitters right now. Watertown hitters are trying to slow him down. The 0-2 pitch. There it is on the outside corner again and taken for strike 3. And Van Camp will pick up his second strikeout in a row. No runs, no hits, no errors, no one left on base. 2 completes. Post State has a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Top of the third inning, and it is going to be 1, 2, and 3 in the batting order. Andrew Coverdale, Garrett Stouts, and Andy Gordon. As those 3 guys started at the top of the first, they only get the only run on the scoreboard as Andy Gordon was able to get a 2-out double and then be driven in by Gray Zabel as Stevenson settled in after that first inning. Really didn't even have to settle in because he only gave up those 2 hits with 2 outs and has retired the last 3 hitters after he hit River Iverson to open up the top of the second. Playing here in Watertown this afternoon. Post State will be back at home tomorrow evening as they take on Mitchell and Sturgis. There's a day-night doubleheader, although they'll play Mitchell and Sturgis, so it's not technically a doubleheader at the same team, but they'll play at 4 o'clock, and then they'll play the third game, which will be around probably 8:30, closer to 9 o'clock by the time that third game starts. So that will be a true day-night doubleheader for Post State. Start in the nice sunshine at 4 o'clock, and sunset will be away about a half an hour away by the time we get that second game started for Post State. First pitch to Andrew Coverdale is taken for a strike 1, the outside corner. He popped out to the catcher Locker in his first at bat to open up the ball game. As Stevenson will from the stretch. Here is the 0-1 to Coverdale. Curveball that misses upstairs. 1-1.
Kale, not a wind-up pitcher. He's usually out of the stretch all the time. Very seldom you'll see him wind up.
I've kind of noticed that a lot this summer, that there's a lot of guys that just start from the stretch. Nothing wrong with it. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Now 1-2. Coverdale tried to hold up, did not in time, so he's down the count 1-2. And really, when we look at it, probably David Price kind of got things really going with in the major leagues with the starter more or less working from the stretch. He has a little bit of a move that is from the windup, but he kind of made the comment that the windup's really nothing but a show. You're really set when you come from the stretch anyway. 2 pitches upstairs, and Coverdale couldn't keep from pulling the trigger as he strikes out to open up the top of the third inning. As it'll bring in Garrett Stout. Stout struck out looking in his first at-bat. Stout going to play at SDSU next spring. play baseball over for the Jackrabbits. He's had himself a really good post-senior year. First pitch is a curveball over for strike one.
Kale kind of locating the pitches a little bit better than he has in the first couple innings.
He'll come set, and Stevenson will deliver the 0-1 pitch to the left-handed hitting Garrett Stout. That one's popped up on the left side. There's a lot of foul territory on the left side as Locker will let it fall into the stands. One of the few times that it's going to actually land inside the little awning right here, because there is a little bit of space between the netting and where the canopy starts. So, but not a whole lot of baseballs will get through here. But you look at the left side, obviously this is where Watertown plays football too. So the left side of foul territory, the dugout on the third base side, there's a lot of foul territory. Where a normal pop fly, you're going to give up on it, but you got to charge hard on the left side if it's fouled away.
Yeah, there's a lot of room on both lines actually in this field. It's a pretty big campus, and we've seen over the years kids will run that thing down all the way over to the football stands.
Count is still 0-2 as Stout fouled the 0-2 pitch away. As Stevenson will deliver the 0-2. Stout will poke it out towards left center field. Coming over to the left fielder, and he will make the catch in Johnston. And there's now 2 down. Boy, that pitch was well out of the strike zone, but a 2-strike protect swing from Stout, and he poked it pretty far out in the left center field.
Peyton Johnson covering a lot of ground that time, and he had one go over his glove early in the first inning like that, but he can wheel out there.
And here is the man that hit it over Peyton Johnston on his first at-bat, Andy Gordon. He doubled with 2 down. Just like he comes up here in the top of the 30. He came around to score on Zabel's RBI single. From the stretch, here's the first pitch to the first baseman. And miss low for ball 1. So far, 2 strikeouts in the ball game for Stevenson, 2 in the ball game for Van Camp. As we play here in the top of the 3rd. There is 2 down. The 1-0 is over, and it's now 1-1.
And a little technical difficulty there with our live stream. We apologize for that.
The camera
should be all squared away again.
The camera started to move a little bit to the left. We were trying to show you what it was like over on the third base.
Yeah, you could see the third base line.
The 1-1 pitch is a check swing, and the umpire says he went all the way around, and it's now 1-2.
It's hard for radio guys to watch video and pay attention to the video. Sorry about that.
That's right. We're not used to that. And again, if you can check us out on the KCCR Sports YouTube page. As Locker will make his way out to the mound. John Wickler alongside Jim Lloyd. And the last time that the two of us were together, that was the final time that we had any kind of high school sports until we restarted the summer season here.
Yeah, we called 2 state tournament hockey games, and because of the COVID thing, that tournament was canceled.
And we got to watch the Capitals play Sioux Center and Watertown face Brookings, and that was it after that. Here's the 1-2 pitch, and Gordon on another off-speed pitch will line it to center field. Sliding for it is Morris, but he can't make the catch, and it's a 2-out single for Andy Gordon. He's now 2 for 2. They'll bring up Gray Zabel, and Morris slid and it just popped out of his glove as Stevenson could not get a 1-2-3 inning in the top of the 3rd.
Morris had a pretty good beat on that. I think he doesn't really know what happened on that. It was in his glove at one time.
And really, you kind of get lost of how well he read that ball, because that's a tough one to read. It was coming straight at him on a low line drive. Sometimes it's hard to judge how far that ball is coming out, but he had a good beat on it, just couldn't grab it. That one's popped up on the left side. The shortstop and Falconer will range to shallow left field and make the catch to end the inning. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left on base. We've played 2.5. Post State still has that 1-0 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to the bottom of the third inning, as Watertown will try and tie this ball game up. They are down 1-0. First pitch from Jack Van Camp is taken high for a ball one to Jared Cyrus.
Jared Cyrus is what we call our foreign exchange student. He actually came to us second game into the season from Hawaii.
Oh, really?
His dad was a military guy and kind of retired, and they got back over to this area. They do have some ties in this area, so we're glad to have him all the way from Hawaii.
The 1-1 pitch is out now 2-1. So I'm sure he's enjoying some South Dakota summer, and probably a little bit different out here in South Dakota than it is in Hawaii. Here's a 2-1 pitch. There's a ground ball to the left side. That is foul as it got underneath the glove of Keenels, but it's now a 2-2 count.
Yeah, he's a kid that worked his way right into the lineup immediately, and he's got some pretty good baseball skills. He plays third base. He's been playing there most of the season, and he's been fun to watch. You know, he's gotten used to everybody on the team, and he's done a great job.
2-2 is missed outside, now 3-2. First full count that Jack Van Camp has had here in the first 7 hitters. 3-2 pitch is outside, and it's taken for ball 4, so there will be no perfect game from Jack Van Camp. That's the first base runner for Watertown, and that'll bring up
Jaden Cordell.
Jaden Cordell, the first baseman, the other of the 2 left-handers in the lineup for Watertown. It'll be Mason Lloyd that's on deck, the number 9 hitter for Watertown. First pitch from Van Camp to the left-hander is upstairs for ball 1.
Jaden's been playing first base for Watertown for a couple years now at the Legion level, and is a pretty good hitter from the left side.
Van Camp works from the stretch here for the first time. The 1-0 pitch is outside now, 2-0. Some good athletes. Well, I shouldn't say a lot of good athletes between these 2 teams playing here this afternoon. As Van Camp delivers a 2-0 pitch. That one is missed, now 3-0, and Van Camp's in danger of walking the first 2 men here in the bottom of the third inning.
You have to believe he's going to watch this one with 3-0 count.
Van Camp comes set. Here's a 3-0 pitch. That one is over for strike 1, and still a good hitter's count here for Cordell to try and drive somewhere in the gap. No signs out in left-right field. Back in center field for the distance of where the field is, but looks like it can get pretty deep out in left and center and right center.
Yeah, I want to say we're about 350-something maybe down the left field. Does that sound right?
That could be it. 3-1 is outside, and it's going to be a ball 4. It gets away from Hinkle, but Cyrus will stop at second either way. As there is now first and second for Mason Lloyd.
Another name you and I pronounced a few times in hockey. He's a hockey player, he's a football player, baseball player, and he's going to be playing football at Dakota State this fall.
Yeah, so there's another college athlete here between these 2 teams, or I guess soon to be college athlete here between these 2 teams. He looks a lot different without a helmet on in any of the hockey gear.
Yeah,
he's going to try and lay down a bunt, and the first pitch will be bunted foul for strike 1.
Yeah, he's not very big. You know, he has yet to. I think Dakota State hopefully sees that he will grow a little bit, but always been athletic.
They'll at least bulk him up a little bit.
Yep.
No matter how big you are in high school, you're going to get a little bit bigger in college. The 0-1 is bunted foul off of Lloyd, and it's now 0-2. And now we'll see if Coach Neal wants to take off the bunt attempt and have Lloyd swing away.
He's been asked to bunt quite a few times this year. Right, he's going to be swinging away here.
So Van Camp will come set. He will try and bunt one more time and bunts it foul for the 3rd time and will strike out. And there's now 1 down.
Oh, they call it a foul, I think. I think he touched it, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Okay, so he will go back to the dugout, and there's 1 down. The umpire didn't look like he made any kind of signal that Lloyd was out. But
I don't think the umpire called anything.
Yeah, he just put his hands up that he fouled it. I think he put his hands up that he fouled it. Either way, there's 1 down, and they'll get back to the top of the order for Evan Falconer. Falconer grounded off the glove of Van Camp for a 1-6-3 put out to open up the bottom of the first inning. First pitch is just missed for ball 1. Runners at first and second here with one down in the bottom of the third inning. 1-0 is our score. As Post State leads with a RBI single from Gray Zabel. The 1-0 is on the outside corner, now 1-1. And the umpire strike zone again. That outside corner, he will give you that outside corner. The inside corner, maybe not so much, but so far he's been very consistent on the outside corner, whether it's a right-handed or left-handed batter. There's a ground ball on the right side. Coverdale will field, turns the throw to second for one. They will fake the throw to first, and that's all they're going to get is that runner at second. So there's now 2 down, and runners will be at the corners for Mason Morris. So it'll be with two away, a chance for Watertown to pick up their first hit, which would also plate their first run of the ball game.
Evan Faulkner at first base is pretty good legs over there. It'll be interesting to see if they have him steal here with 2 outs.
And Van Camp, the lefty, you got to make sure that he goes home with it when he lifts his leg. First pitch, trying to bunt his way on is Morris, and he will foul it back. And it's 0-1.
Trying to bunt there for a base hit with 2 outs. You're going to have to bunt for a base hit.
I was going to say, that's one where you have to get, if you're going to try and bunt, you have to be on. Coach will not be too happy when you get thrown out with 2 outs with a bunt. There's a ground ball to the right side. Coverdale will bobble, but being at second base, he's able to recover in time and make the play at first and to get out of the jam. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. We have played 3 completes here at Watertown. It is a 1-0 lead for Post State. You're listening to Post State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here, top of the 4th inning, it is going to be 5, 6, and 7 here for Post State. Cade Hinkle, River Iverson, and Matt Lusk. If anybody reaches base, they'll go to the number 8 hitter in Lincoln Keenholz. Stevenson on for his 4th inning. As again, he gave up that first run of the ball game in the top of the 1st inning, and since then has allowed just 2 base runners in the 1 in the 2nd and 3rd inning. Here is Hinkle, who is 0 for 1. He grounded back to the pitcher to end the top of the 1st. Stevenson works from the stretch here to lead off the bottom of the 4th inning. The first pitch to Hinkle is over for strike 1. Hinkle, another guy that's going to go play baseball at Rochester Technical Community College next year. The 0-1 pitch is outside, now 1-1. Hinkle is hitting .327 so far, or coming into this doubleheader for Post State. This is a team that's hitting .333 overall. That's a good mark for this team that last couple of years, or at least last year, struggled to find hits throughout the season. Now 2-1. Hit under 300 in both the spring and summer season. So it's one where hitting .333 is a good mark for Post State to be at. Here's the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss, now 2-2.
Cale Stevenson, I would say, probably doesn't have the speed on his ball that we typically see, but he's thrown an awful lot in the last 2 weeks. So maybe a little arm fatigue.
Stevenson will come set. Here's the 2-2 to Hinkle. On the outside edge and looked at for strike 3. And there's the 3rd strikeout of the ball game for Stevenson.
And he proves me wrong on that one, John. He did have a little smoke left, didn't he? That was a pretty good pitch.
I just, for Watertown, hope he didn't use all that on that last pitch. No, he is, he's looked good. He's settled into the ball game. Really hadn't have any problems at all. Just those 2 hits in that first inning, and since then, two base runners since those first 2 hits. Here's River Iverson. First pitch is outside for ball 1. He reached base by being hit by a pitch in his in his first plate appearance, which isn't unusual that we have a day where Iverson gets hit by a pitch. Usually it's more of an odd day when he doesn't get hit by a pitch.
Yeah, some batters aren't afraid to stand in there. Some bail out completely, and the other ones will just stand right there. He's one that stands.
Yeah, he stood there, took it off the forearm or the upper arm, and acted like it didn't. It just barely got him. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Iverson will foul it back to the screen. It's now 1-1. We have a photographer sitting down there. Looks pretty close to the net. that one just missed him to the right side and moved his head to the left a little bit.
Well, that's Roger Merriam. He's a reporter for the Public Opinion newspaper. He's played a few days of baseball. Probably didn't bother him.
Here's the 1-1 pitch to Iverson. Swing and a miss, now 1-2.
That looked like a changeup for there, I think.
And Iverson down the counts. And so far here for Post State, they've chased a lot from Stevenson out of the zone. He's been able to keep them off balance, keep them guessing. That one might have been a little high and outside on that 1-1 pitch. Here is the 1-2 now from Stevenson. Inside almost hits Iverson again, now 2-2. Iverson almost got on base twice by being hit by 2 different pitches. 1-0 is our score here at the top of the 4th inning. 1 down. Here's the 2-2 from Stevenson to Iverson. He will foul that one away, and a good swing there by Iverson to hang with that off-speed pitch and a foul out of play and hang around for at least one more pitch. Especially now in today's baseball where pitch counts, so there's a pitch count limit. Every foul ball with the 2-strike approach will add another pitch and could get him out of the game a lot faster. 2-2 pitch. That one is fouled off the mitts. Just barely nicked by Iverson, and Locker couldn't squeeze the glove, so it remains at 2-2.
He just barely hit that. In fact, I thought he swung and missed.
I think I heard just enough. Stevenson comes set again. Here's the 2-2 one more time. Again, fouled away by Iverson. That's 3 straight foul balls with 2 strikes.
Good at bat. Good at bat for Iverson.
I mean, the 8th pitch of the at-bat coming up for Iverson. Stevenson works here in the 4th inning with just allowing only 1 run on 3 hits. Here's the 2-2. Curveball, and that one again is just barely fouled by Iverson, and Locker's not able to grab it, so it remains at 2-2. That's twice now. And Iverson has just barely got a piece of it to stay alive.
Just glancing at just enough that Locker can't catch it.
So here, upcoming is the 9th pitch of the at-bat to Iverson. Stevenson from the stretch deals the 2-2, and that one's fouled away again, and that's making a double-digit at-bat here between Iverson and Stevenson. Sell the tickets to the battle here. It's a good at-bat by Iverson. Stevenson, who's had to keep throwing strikes, still hasn't even worked the count full yet. So here comes the 10th pitch of the at-bat. The 2-2 from Stevenson. Iverson will foul another one away. We'll make it an 11-pitch at-bat.
Stevenson continually has to throw a strike here. He's got, with a 2-2 count, he seems to stay right in the strike zone.
I'd say he still has one more pitch to work with. If he wants to throw it outside, throw it down low, try and get Iverson to chase. Looks like it might be Locker calling for a high pitch. The 2-2, that one's popped up, fouls. Is it going to get out of play or stay in play? The first baseman raging after it. And
just barely out of the park.
So we'll make it.
Just barely. He's coming back to the plate.
Be the 12th pitch of the at-bat, I believe. I've lost count now.
you and I have to stretch around the new press box here, and we actually can't see that much of the right field line, but that one just barely out of the park.
So this is going to be the 12th pitch of the at-bats. Upcoming here from Stevenson Iverson. It might actually be the 13th pitch. Either way, 12th or 13th is still 2-2. And here's the pitch. Iverson will ground this one in fair territory, the left side, fielded by Falconer. The throw to first will retire Iverson, and one heck of an at-bat from River Iverson, and a great job, too, by Stevenson to not get too frustrated and still get Iverson retired after 13 pitches.
That's a good at-bat.
That's one where both the batter and pitcher look at each other and kind of tip the cap to each other, and a great at-bat, and Iverson says, well, you got me this time, but there's still another at-bat to be had.
There's more.
Here's Maskey, flew out to the center fielder in his first at-bat, back in the top of the second. Here's the first pitch from Stevenson over at the letters, taken for strike one. Boy, that at-bat between Iverson and Stevenson almost was a full inning for some guys. Van Camp might have had a 13-pitch inning back in the first or second. The 0-1 misses low, now 1-1 here to Matt Luss, the center fielder in game one. We'll probably see him throw tomorrow against either Mitchell or Sturgis. Might even come in to close this ball game if need be. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Outside, 2-1. Really, we've seen Coach White kind of extend the rotation a little bit when they play a North Dakota team, because get those guys innings of work, and of course they want to win, stay competitive. But if you don't win, it doesn't hurt you in the standings for the state tournament. There one's through the left side for a base hit, just past the outstretched glove of Cyrus and into left field. And Matt Lusk has a 2-out single. And they'll bring in Lincoln Keenholz.
That was a hard hit ball.
That's now the fourth 2-out hit for Post State. They have 4 hits in the game. All 4 of their hits have come with 2 outs. So far here as we play in the top of the fourth. Again, Pierre will play Fargo after this ball game concludes, about a half hour after the game concludes. Lusk goes off with the first pitch. Keenholz swings and misses for strike one, and Lusk will steal second as the catcher and Locker either couldn't get the ball in his glove or something happened with the mask and did not make an attempt of a throw, and Lusk will be in scoring position here for Lincoln Keenholz. And with a base hit would be their 5th of the ball game, which could drive in their 2nd run. As Keenholz waits on the 0-1. There's a curveball that gets to the left side, and that was through on the left side past Faulkner and into left field, and holding up at third is Lusk, as trying to scoop it was the third baseman in Cyrus, and almost booted that way back to the shortstop Falconer. But it's a 2-out single, and it brings up A.J. Gaden with first and third.
Faulconer had a pretty good beat on that ball. I thought he was going to glove it. He did knock it down just a little bit. Probably saved a run.
So here's A.J. Gaden, as we'll have a signs coming from the catcher Locker. This is the number 9 hitter in the order, but probably the guy you want to have up outside of maybe Andy Gordon, who is an RBI machine, has been an RBI machine for Post State. Gaden's swinging the hottest bat for Post State. He's 0 for 1 so far here in this game, as the first pitch from Stevenson's grounded back to the pitcher, and an underhand toss, and that will retire the side here in the top of the 4th inning. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 men left on base. We have played 3.5. It is a 1-0 lead for Post State. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. Bottom of the fourth inning, Post State leads 1-0. Jack Van Camp will deal with 3, 4, and 5. Dawson Schmidt, Mason Evans, and Peyton Johnston. If anybody gets on base, then it'll be Braxton Locker. These three guys are all 0 for 1 so far. First pitch from Van Camp is upstairs for ball 1. Schmidt flew out to the right fielder, Gaden, in his first at-bat, although it was more towards center field, but Matt Luss did not see it when it came off the bat. There's a ground ball to the left side. Stout will charge. He'll barehand and cannot barehand it cleanly, so there's a leadoff single for Dawson Schmidt. That is their first hit of the ball game for Watertown, and the leadoff man is aboard for the second straight inning.
Number 16.
Brings up Mason Evans. Mason Evans, we talked about him. He's a hockey player for Watertown, and he's also a pretty darn good hitter. So he will DH. He'll also be a catcher.
That's the speed that he has on a slap shot in hockey will most likely translate to more times than not to being a good hitter in baseball, or at least having a good at bat.
I think he has the fastest slap shot in the state, if I remember.
Oh, I don't doubt that, and I would put money on him against the field to be the hardest slap shot. 2-0 is the count here to Mason Evans. He ground out of the shortstop Stout in his first at bat.
He's showing a quick bat once in a while too.
As time has been called and everybody get reset. That was every time that the Capitals and Lakers played. Now 3-0 the count to Evans. Every time they played and Evans put that stick up in the air and he got the puck, I was a little nervous for anybody that was standing, both for the Lakers and the Capitals that were standing in his way. The 3-0 pitch goes between the legs of Evans. Somehow it misses him, but it's a 4-pitch walk. And it's now first and second with nobody out for Peyton Johnston. And
that pitch went right between the legs of Mason Evans. I can't believe it didn't hit him.
I don't know how that didn't hit him, but he ends up either way would have ended up at first base. Right. As Peyton Zabel will make his way out to talk with his starter and Jack Van Camp. Zabel, the pitching coach here for not just the Senior Legion, but through all the ranks of Post State, and has done a good job since he's taken over last summer, or been hired last summer. I shouldn't say he's taken over. He kind of just got added to the coaching staff for Post State, and he's been a tremendous help to not only the Senior Legion, not only the Junior Legion, but all the way through the ranks of Post State baseball. First and second here with nobody out. First pitch to Johnston. He'll swing and foul it out of play on the right side.
For Watertown, this is the guy that we want up to bat right now with guys on base. Peyton Johnson, he is our leading RBI hitter.
So first and second, nobody out. Sometimes you think, well, maybe try and bunt the ball and get it second and third, but with the guy that's got the most RBIs on the team, don't really want to take the bat out of his hands. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That one's chopped foul, and it will be picked up foul by Lincoln Keenels. It was right there on that edge of the lip on the left side where if it takes one hop to the right, it could have easily rolled off that lip and rolled back fair. So it was one that could have been dangerous for Post State. And the count is now 0-2.
Peyton Johnson swinging away like normal. He very seldom will bunt, but he's a good bat, so why would you not have him swing?
So the count is 0-2. Van Camp from the stretch. He'll come set. Here's the 0-2 pitch. There's a ground ball back up the middle. Coverdale will field. Flip to second for one. Throw to first is in time. And what a terrific double play turn by Coverdale to Stout. Turns around and flips it to second for Stout. And it's a 4-6-3 double play. There is still a runner at third base, but now any out can get him out of the inning and keep this a 1-0 ball game.
That's a really smooth double play.
That was a major league turn over there at second from Coverdale to get to Stout, and those two guys have such good chemistry working together up the middle for Post State. So now there's two away, and that'll bring in Braxton Locker, the catcher. First pitch right down the middle for strike one. He struck out looking in his first at-bat back in the bottom of the second inning. First two men reach base, but here the fourth batter in the inning. There's two down and just a runner on third. Here's the 0-1. That one's on the outside corner now, 0-2. And
that's the outside corner.
That's the outside corner that's getting that call, but that's a tough one. As a pitcher, you're saying absolutely give me that call every time. As a hitter, you're going, please give me something a little bit closer to try and hit. Here's the 0-2 pitch. Grounded back up the middle, off the glove of Van Camp again. Stout will field. The throw to first is in time. And there's another 1-6-3 putouts to end the inning. And Post State will get out of the first two men reaching base. No runs, one hit, no errors, and one man left. 4 completes. Post State has a 1-0 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR, and today is KCCR.com. Here at the top of the 5th inning, it will be the top of the order for Post State for the 3rd time in 5 innings. It'll be Andrew Coverdale, Garrett Stouts, and Andy Gordon. If anybody gets on base, it'll be Gray Zabel as Stevenson works into the top of the 5th, and he's given up just 5 hits so far, and all 5 of those hits have been with 2 outs. So he does a pretty good job of limiting those first 2 hitters to reach base. He's just one guy, and the first 2 hitters have reached base, and that was Iverson that led off the second being hit by a pitch. Everybody else that has got to first base has reached with 2 outs. As Coverdale, Stout, and Gordon will be the first 3 hitters. Coverdale is 0 for 2. He popped out of the catcher and also struck out in the 1st and 3rd inning. 1-0 is their score here in the top of the 5th. Good baseball game here between these two teams. Good, clean baseball game. Just 1 error so far was committed by Watertown and did not come back to haunt them. The first pitch is upstairs for ball 1 to Coverdale. John Wickler alongside Jim Lloyd here on this Wednesday afternoon. As you are listening to KCCR Pierre Riverfront Broadcasting Station, just past that 2 o'clock hour. Nothing like some afternoon baseball. 1-0 pitch. That one's foul out of play, now 1-1. Jim, to be honest, weekday afternoon baseball is my absolute favorite time for baseball. I love those weekday afternoon games, Major League Baseball, whether it's high school, whether it's college. You get a weekday afternoon baseball game, I absolutely love it. Doesn't matter who's playing.
And for you, they can call it work, right?
That's right. And I get paid to enjoy this now. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Stevenson to Coverdale. That one misses outside, now 2-1. Major League Baseball season going to get started back up in July, later on this month. It's weird to say, 1, that they're actually going to play, but 2, that's coming up this month now they're going to get back to playing. The 2-1 pitch. That one's to the right side and through for a base hit. And Coverdale is now 1 for 3 in the ball game. And the first time Post State has a runner on base with less than 2 outs here in this ball game.
And that's the first hit to the right side of the field.
Yeah. I guess Zabel did have that one, but to the right of the second baseman.
Right.
Yeah, it was on the right side, but the left of the second baseman.
Right.
So, yeah, really going the other way, or at least just taking it to the right side. Everything's been on the left side for Post State. Just 1 extra base hit as Stout will show bunt. He will pull back and swing at the first pitch. That one, Coverdale was stealing, and it will be a stolen base for Coverdale on a hit and run. I don't think Stout would have swung at that if that wasn't a hit and run call from Coach White, but it is 0-1.
Braxton Locker's throw a little off the mark. Probably would not been able to get a tag down.
Stevenson will deliver the 0-1 pitch to Stout. He will try and bunt it. He will bunt it down the third baseline. He'll at least get covered over to third, and Stout will beat it out as the throw did not come from Cyrus. It is back-to-back singles, and the runners are at the corners here with nobody out, and here comes Andy Gordon. Like I said, between him and A.J. Gaden are probably the 2 guys you went up to the plate with runners in scoring position.
That's a great bunt by Stout. I don't think he could do it any better. Can't even make a throw on him.
Gordon, 17 runs driven in. He's leading the team. And from that number 3 spot, that's what you like to see, and he's produced out of that number 3 spot more times than not. He can chance to get his 18th run driven in. And he can do it as long as he doesn't ground into a double play. He can do it in multiple different ways. Stout leads away from first. Stevenson will come set. Here's the first pitch to Andy Gordon. That one is taken for strike one. He is 2 for 2. He doubled in the first and singled in the third. He came around to score the game's only run in that first inning. Count is 0-1 here to the first baseman. Pick-off attempts and back in safely. Gordon actually got hit by a pitch in the face in Minot on Saturday. Missed everything. Didn't hit him, and then it kind of grazed the bill of the helmet, but it hit his face first. That one's fouled back, but he's a hockey player, so it did not affect him as much as it would the other guy.
Yeah, those hockey players, they tend to be kind of tough.
Well, and the umpire told Andy to stay down until the trainer got over there, and Coach White came walking down. Oh, he's a hockey player. He's all right. And sure enough, he got up and started was smiling as he walked back to the dugout. Not too many guys can get hit in the face with a pitch and still smile about it. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That one's upstairs now, 1-2.
I've asked my son several times what hurts more, a baseball or a puck, and he says, "Well, baseball is round. A puck has edges."
Yeah, that is true. But sometimes, well, yeah, I guess it depends on where you get hit with the hockey
That's right.
puck. As Walker will flash signs out at first, with the being first and third here with nobody out in the top of the fifth inning. Another chance here for Post State to add to their lead. They did have runners at the corners with 2 outs in the 4th inning. Did not score. Now they have runners at the corners with nobody out here in the 5th. A couple chances to score. Stout is over the pitch. There's a ground ball on the right side, and that will get the run home. Bobbled by the second baseman, Lloyd. The only play was at first. They get Gordon out at first, but the run does come in to score on the RBI ground out from Andy Gordon, his 18th RBI of the season. And there's now 1 down, and Stout is over at second.
Mason Lloyd there, I think, trying to hustle over to try to get that double play ball up the middle, and bobbled it, had enough poise to still get it over to first base, but the run scores.
And not a bad thought there from Lloyd too, because he knows he has time. Being at second base is a shorter throw. You can potentially see if you get that chance for the double play and still have time to fake a throw to second and still get him out at first, as they're going to intentionally walk Zabel to bring up Cade Hinkle.
After the intentional walk to the plate, number 25.
So with Watertown
looking for a double play ball here with 1 out.
And Cade Hinkle, who is 0 for 2, and you look at the size. Although Cade Hinkle hitting the ball pretty well, you look at the size. You say, do you want to go after Zabel or you want to go after Hinkle? And they decided with the base open that they would take their chances with Cade Hinkle, and they'll try and make Watertown pay. He will try and drop down a bunt. He will, right back to the pitcher and Stevenson. So he'll get both runners over on the sack bunt. And there's now 2 down and 2 runners in scoring position for River Iverson.
After the 1-3 put out to the plate.
Another real nice bunt.
Number 22, River
And here's the guy that bunts the ball better than anybody on the team in River Iverson. But with 2 outs in the inning, I don't believe he's going to try and bunt the ball. He's going to try and put one through the hole on the left or right side and drive in both Stout and Zabel. 2-0 is the score here in the top of the 5th inning. Gordon made it a 2-0 game with that RBI ground out. Still threatening here in the top of the 5th. With Stout over at third, Zabel on at second. First pitch from Stevenson to Iverson, swing and a miss. And it's 0-1. These 2 guys had a 13-pitch at bat that Stevenson ended up winning with a ground out to the shortstop. Now Iverson's trying to get his revenge, which would also potentially drive in 2 runs. The 0-1 pitch from Stevenson to River Iverson. That one's to the left side, and a somewhat diving catch as it was the Cyrus going to the knee to make that grab, and that will retire the side and strand those 2 runners on at second and third. 1 run in the inning on 2 hits, no errors, and 2 men left on base. After 4.5, Post State leads Watertown 2-0. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. Here is Jared Cyrus to lead things off in the bottom of the 5th inning. Jack Van Camp has got an extra run to work with. He leads 2-0 as Post State got that run scored by Andy Gordon's RBI ground out as we play in the bottom of the 5th inning. 7, 8, 9. Cyrus, Cordell, and Lloyd to lead things off. First pitch is upstairs for ball 1. Cyrus walked in his first plate appearance. He was stranded at third base. Back in the second. He'll pop the 1-0 pitch up. On the right side, going to shallow right field. Coverdale will call for it. He'll make the catch, and leadoff man is retired. Here to open up the bottom of the 5th inning.
Number 22, Jaden Cordell.
As we play here just an hour and 9 minutes of this ball game so far, and we've got one down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. I'm not saying anything because I don't want to jinx anything, but I'm just saying. First pitch is taken for strike 1. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying. Cardell he walked also in his first trip to the plate. The 0-1 pitch from Van Camp to Cardell is swinging a miss, now 0-2. On deck is Mason Lloyd. 2-0 here for Post State. And both starting pitchers have looked good through Stevenson's 5 innings and Van Camp's 4 1/3 so far. Now 1-2 here to Cordell.
Jaden Cordell is known to have a pretty good eye for the ball. He will take a walk.
As he looks to get on base for the second time in as many plate appearances. But he's down the count 1-2. From the windup, here's the 1-2 pitch from Van Camp. Swinging a miss, and there's a strikeout for Van Camp. That is his 4th and 1st since the 3rd inning.
That's what happens when you talk.
Here is Mason Lloyd. I guess that makes up for my comment about A.J. Gayden being probably the best guy to be up to the plate for Post State. And he promptly barely grounded back into the pitcher. First pitch is a swing and a miss, and it's 0-1. So here's Mason Lloyd. He struck out swinging. Actually, he struck out trying to bunt the ball in his first at-bat. As he hits with nobody on and 2 down here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Over for strike 2 on the outside corner. Boy, that's a tough curveball to take.
That is.
That looks like it's going to be a ball all the way through, and then at the last moment hits the corner. Here's the 0-2 from Van Camp. That one's chopped foul behind home plate, and we'll do it again.
Yeah, that outside curveball out there, you'd have to be on top of the plate to have a good look at that.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, you're crowding the plate, and then he's going to come inside on you, and you're going to back away, and it's going to be right over the zone. Here's the 0-2 again from Van Camp. Outside, well, that was well outside, now 1-2. This is number 9 here in the order, so we'll go back to the top of the order if he's able to reach base for Evan Falconer. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Inside, 2-2. Actually, got Lloyd, so he's on base. And from 0-2, Van Camp looked like he was cruising through this bottom of the 5th inning, and now he'll have to work from the stretch and have to deal with the top of the order and Evan Falconer. He's 0 for 2. He grounded out to the shortstop, Stout, in the first inning, and also reached on a fielder's choice.
You have to believe here they're going to try to get Lloyd over to second base one way or the other.
As we'll see if he takes off of that first pitch. First pitch is outside for ball 1. Lloyd, with that left-handed pitching in Van Camp, that right leg comes up, and you got to make the split decision if he's going home or going to first. Lloyd just started to go back to first, and so he did not steal. Here's the 1-0. That was up and away, but it hits the corner and hits across the letters, now 1-1.
Falconer shaking his head a little bit. The Watertown hitters are not liking that outside strike. I don't think anybody would.
As a pitcher, you absolutely love it. 1-1 pitch is upstairs, 2-1. The two guys that like it the most and have no complaints are Van Camp and Stevenson right now. They absolutely love that.
Yep, that's right.
The other 18 guys are in the game. Not so much of a fan. 2-1 pitch. On the outside corner is now 2-2.
He's living there today.
I guess the other, right now, 8 guys like it and 9 guys maybe don't like it up until the end of this inning, and then the other 8 guys will like that pitch. The count is now 2-2. Van Camp will come set. Here's the 2-2 pitch. That one's chopped to the plate, and it'll be fouled away, and we'll do it again at 2-2. On deck is Mason Morris. He is 0 for 2. So far, just 1 hit in the ball game for Watertown. They've had 2 walks, Actually, 3 walks and his batter. That one's fouled off of Faulkner and remains at 2-2. That one hit was an infield hit from Dawson Schmidt. That Stout his only chance was to try and barehand it. From the stretch, the 2-2 again. Ground ball to the left side. That goes underneath the glove of Keenels and in left field. Rounding second and stopping at second will be Lloyd. And it's a 2-out error. And it'll extend the inning to Mason Morris. And he's got a base hit, or a chance to get a base hit to tie, or at least pull them within 1 as they trail 2-0.
Watertown has pretty good speed on the bases here at first and third. And again, I would be willing to bet they're going to try to advance these 2 runners. Possibly with a bunt.
Well, there are 2 outs, so we'll see if, although with the left-handed hitting Morris, it's a good chance, drag bunt. Good opportunity to reach base. First pitch is on the outside corner, is taken for strike 1. Morris is grounded out to the second baseman, Coverdale twice in his 2 at-bats. Keno's protecting the line over at third. Stout someone holding the runner on at second, and that one's lifted out to right field. A.J. Gayden going back on it, still going back, and that one's going to go over the fence for a 3-run home run for Mason Morris. And Watertown has taken a 3-2 lead with 1 swing of the bats.
That's Watertown's second home run of the year, and they've both gone over the right field fence.
And with 1 swing, what was an 0-2 count with 2 down in the inning turned into a hits batter, and then an error by the third baseman Keenels and a 3-run homer. Just the second hit of the ball game.
What a difference 1 swing can make in a game.
And it's easy to tell how quickly where this game changed. With an 0-2 count, if you get Lloyd out, strike him out, whatever you do to get him out of the inning, and all of a sudden we're in a completely different ball game. It's 5 shutout innings. Instead, it's now a 3-2 lead for Watertown as it's 1-1 to Dawson Schmidt.
As a pitcher here, you need to settle in, do what you do.
Yeah, you got to. This next man is very important to get out. So now 1-1 is on the outside corner. Maybe
Schmidt didn't like that one.
Maybe on the outside chalk. It is now 1-2. 1-2 pitch is fouled at the plate again and remains at 1-2.
Dawson Schmidt, we talked about him, another real athletic kid on this team. They say he has a 35-inch vertical jump.
Boy, that's about 32 higher than mine.
Yeah.
Here's the 1-2 pitch. That one's fouled back to the screen.
You saw him if you watch Watertown play football at all. He was one of their main plays was deep down the sideline, and he would just jump over whoever was in his way.
Well, it's really nice. Yeah, you have hands. You have good hands. As the 1-2 pitch is on the outside edge, and that's taken for strike 3. And Van Camp does come back to get the strikeout to end the bottom of the 5th inning. 3-run score on just 1 hit, 1 error, and no one left on base. The 3-run homer from Mason Morris has given Watertown a 3-2 lead after 5 innings. You listen to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR and today's KCCR.com. Here is going to be Matt Lusk to lead things off for Post-State here in the top of the 6th inning. Matt Lusk, Lincoln Keenels, and A.J. Gayden, 7, 8, 9. They trail for the first time here in the ball game as they are down 3-2 after a 3-run homer from Mason Morris in the bottom of the 5th inning with 2 outs. First pitch from Stevenson is outside for ball 1. Lusk is 1 for 2. He singled back in the 4th inning. was stranded over at third. Post State has left a man on base in each of the 5 innings. They scored 2 runs. They've left 7 men on base so far. The 1-0 is over for strike 1. Look on the other side, and Watertown has left just 3 guys on base, but they have 3 runs to show for it. Here's the 1-1 pitch to Matt Lusk. That one's out towards right field. Played perfectly by the right fielder, and Schmidt will make the catch, and the leadoff man's retired. They'll bring in Lincoln Keenels, who is also 1 for 2. As he singled back in the 4th inning as well. That was part of that 2 out, 2 back-to-back singles, but both were stranded, were Lusk and Keenels in the 4th. So here's Stevenson that will come set. And the first pitch to Lincoln Keenels. Ground ball right back up the middle, and a good play there from Stevenson. He's had 3 good plays back at the mound, and he will retire Keenels on the flip to first base. And there's now 2 quickly down here in the top of the 6th inning.
Not a surprise he can. Not a surprise he can grab that right there with his reactions. He's played third base, he's played shortstop, he's played second all over the field this year. So he does a pretty good job fielding his position.
That's his 4th putout. He's had 3 ground balls back to him, and also a sac bunt that he played. First pitch to Gaden is fisted and will be grabbed by the third baseman. And it's a quick 1-2-3 inning here for Stevenson. We have played 5.5. Watertown has a 3-2 lead. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. It is going to be 4, 5, and 6 here for Watertown in the bottom of the 6th inning. Mason Evans, Peyton Johnston, and Braxton Locker. He might reach bases. It will be Jared Cyrus. Van Camp's going to try and work a 0 here to give Post State a chance. They only need to score 1 run in the 7th. First pitch is taken for strike 1. Stevenson, though he can't see down the right field side to see if anybody's warm up in the bullpen. As now 0-2. Stevenson's got 88 pitches through 6 innings, so he's got a good 17 pitches to work with in the top of the 7th to try and get out of, or try and have a complete game. Van Camp as that one's down the right field line, and it will drift foul. He has thrown 77 pitches now. So he has got to find a way to get a quick inning and have Post State score 1 to 2 runs for him to try and go all 7 for Post State. Here's the 0-2 pitch. That one is popped up on the right side. Coverdale will backtrack into shallow right field and make the catch, and the leadoff man is retired here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Mason Evans a little behind that time on at bat. He typically does not behind the pitchers.
Peyton Johnston is 0 for 2. He struck out looking and grounded into a 4-6-3 double play back in the 4th inning. That was when Post State Watertown had their best chance to score up to that point, with the first 2 men reaching base. But they did score 3 in the 5th inning. The 1-0 is skied and fouled out of play on the right side, and it's now 1-1. I remind you, after this game, Post State will play Fargo in their second game. Then Watertown will play Fargo after that. We'll have just the Post State and Fargo game. The 1-1 pitch is over for strike 2. And this is a Fargo team that is the national runner-up from last year. So This is going to be a good baseball team coming into play, this post-state team. There's a line shot to the left side. That's past the outstretched glove of Keenels and into left field for a one-out single. And that is just the third hit in the ball game for Watertown. But they still lead 3-2. And here's Braxton Locker, who is 0 for 2. So here is Braxton Locker, 0 for 2. First pitch. That one's grounded to the left side. Stout will field in the backhand. Quick throw to second. Got one. Back to first. They're going to get the double play. They do turn the double play. A 6-4-3 double play to end the inning. And that one looked like it wasn't going to happen, but they were able to turn the double play to end the sixth. No runs, one hit, no errors, and no one left on base. We head to the seventh. Post-State needs at least one to keep this ball game alive. You're listening to Post-State Baseball on today's KCCR, today's KCCR.com. Here at the top of the seventh inning, it is going to be the top of the order for Bow State, needing at least one run, as it'll be Coverdale, Stout, and Gordon. Those three combined for their second run back in the fifth inning. So Andrew Coverdale is going to come to the plate for the fourth time, and he's going to come to the plate to lead off an inning for the fourth time. You don't see that very often where the leadoff hitter, every time he comes up to the plate, is to lead off an inning. But he will try and get his second hit against the starter Stevenson, who's trying to close out a complete game for Watertown as they lead 3-2. Been a really good game, Jim. Jim Lloyd joins me here for this ball game. Two good teams that are playing some good baseball and have played some really good baseball in this one.
Yeah, really a very clean game. 1-0 for most of the game.
Yeah, and Post State had a 2-0 lead after the top of the fifth, but in that bottom of the fifth inning, it was a 3-run homer from Mason Morris, the only tally, and one of 3 hits for Watertown as they lead here 3-2. In the top of the seventh, here's Andrew Coverdale. First pitch to him is over at the letters for strike one. Coverdale, Stout, and Gordon. Those 3 have combined for 4 hits so far. If anybody reaches base, which they need to have at least somebody reach base to keep the ball game alive, it'll be Grades Zabel. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Upstairs now 1-1. Stevenson up to 90 pitches, so another 15 left to go for him. Here's the 1-1. That one's grounded right back up the middle, and that's through for a base hit, and there is that tying run aboard to open up the top of the seventh. That one just squeaked through Faulkner and Lloyd, and Mason Lloyd was playing pretty far up the middle, trying to almost play Coverdale to pull the ball. And he almost had a chance on the left side of the second base bag to make that play.
I thought one of those guys up the middle were going to get a glove on it.
So here is Garrett Stout. He is 1 for 3. He singled back in his last at-bat in the fifth inning. It was a bunt single that he got. He will show bunt here. Pickoff attempt and diving back in safely is Coverdale. Didn't have a real large lead over at first, but the speed of Coverdale can easily swipe second as it is. Would probably expect him to try and steal that one. Another throw over and back in safely without a tag as Coverdale. So would assume that somebody's warming up in the bullpen for Watertown. The first pitch is outside for ball one, unless someone here playing the field will come in to try and close out, because Stevenson's down to just 13 pitches and going to prepare for at least another 13 to be thrown before this inning comes to an end, one way or the other. First pitch, or the 1-0 pitch, instead of check over, and back in safely is Coverdale.
Stevenson holding them pretty close at first base.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Upstairs now 2-0. And Stout, these are the three guys here in the order that if you had to come in the inning down by one, that you would like to see. If you could pick where you wanted to be, this is where you would pick, top of the order. Here's the 2-0 pitch from Stevenson to Stout. Instead, time is called, and Stevenson had to stop his motion. Pitchers don't like that too much. They don't like to, once they start, they don't like having to stop.
Yeah, there's definitely a rhythm to it.
So now Stevenson will come set again. Here's the 2-0 pitch. Stout will fight off that 2-0 pitch and foul it back to the screen. It's now 2-1. Tried to turn on it, just didn't get the hands around in time. So the count is now 2-1. We'll see. Coverdale has not taken off for the pitch yet. We'll see if he does steal. And how well he does steal, you're not too concerned with him getting thrown out. The 2-1 pitch, that one's skied up in the air into left center, left field. And the left fielder in Johnston will make the catch. And there's now one down to bring up Andy Gordon.
Left fielder in this stadium at this time of day has a pretty tough job. Probably sun real close to right in his eyes.
And Johnston had to reach out to the left to make that catch. Well, he does get that first out.
And that's the big one. Now Watertown here is looking for a double play ball, of course.
Yep, now a double or a ground ball can end the ball game. Coverdale leads away from first. Gordon's to the plate. He is 2 for 2 with an RBI. Take off and back in safely is Coverdale. Gordon's lone time he's been retired was a productive one. He drove in that second run of the ball game. He scored the first run of the ball game. He's been involved in both those runs. Coverdale is off of the pitch. That one's grounded to the left side, through for a base hit. Coverdale will stop at second, and Gordon is now 3 for 4. And the tying run is in scoring position. And here is Gray Zabel. He was intentionally walked his last trip to the plate. He had an RBI single back in the top of the first inning. With one down, again, a ground ball could end the ball game. Infield fly rule is in effect. And we'll have Coach Neal come out.
I'm sure they're going to talk about how they're going to throw to Sabo here.
And he is starting to run out of pitches, too. And here's the thing. It looks like he might be done.
Yep, so he is going to pull Stevenson.
So we will step aside here for a minute. We'll come back and tell you what the changes are. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today is KCCR. Today is KCCR.com. As we welcome you back here to the top of the 7th inning, it is going to be Cyrus that will come on the mound for Watertown. As Jared Cyrus will try and pick up the final 2 outs. Stevenson's going to stay in the ball game as he will now play third. And that means Mason Evans is done for the game as Stevenson will move into that number 4 spot in the batting order. But for Coach Neal, he's hoping that Cyrus gets these final 2 guys out without a run scoring and don't have to worry about that lineup anymore. So we run through the totals for Stevenson. Went 6 1/3. He gave up 9 hits in the ball game, 2 earned runs so far, 1 walk and 3 strikeouts. He is responsible for those 2 guys on at first and second. He is in the line for the win as Cyrus tries to get the save here in this ball game. Gray Zabel, he will be the first man to greet Cyrus, and that's a tough job for Cyrus. To first man he's going to see is Gray Zabel, as he is 1 for 2 so far. He singled home Gordon in the first. He popped out the shortstop in the third, and he was intentionally walked in the 5th inning. Here's the first pitch to Zabel. He'll ground it to the left side. That one's grabbed by Stevenson. He will try to tag Coverdale. He does tag Coverdale, and there's now 2 down. And that'll leave it up to Cade Hinkle.
So Stevenson's still having an impact. He goes over to third base and runs down the base runner there with a nice play.
So usually you see that kind of happen whenever somebody comes into the ball game, fresh into the ball game. But then Stevenson goes to be the third baseman, and the first pitch is grounded right to him, as well as a courtesy or a pinch runner. And Jake Mayer is going to run for Andy Gordon.
You saw Stevenson's athleticism there. He just ran him down before he got to third base. That's a big out. Now looking at 2 outs here for Cyrus.
And that's one where if you take the out at second, you possibly don't get that double play. And then it's first and third, and a base hit will guarantee that the game is tied. Here, a base hit maybe doesn't necessarily mean that the Mayer's going to score, as he does come in to run for Gordon to pick up some speed, trying to score on a base hit.
Cyrus typically throws pretty hard. So Cyrus here, he's gonna throw. He needs one more out.
Cade Hinkle, he is 0 for 2. And a sack bunt in his last plate appearance. First pitch is taken for strike 1.
Jared throws pretty hard. He came to us, like I said earlier in the broadcast, from Honolulu. He did not even start with us until about the second or third game, and kind of worked into a third base, and now has worked into a relief position.
He's trying to close it out here in the top of the 7th inning. The 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, now 0-2, and Post State down to his final strike here in game 1. And this is the game that matters the most between these two teams. A win or loss to Fargo doesn't do anything for the standings. A win or loss against your opponent here, as the 0-2 is outside, now 1-2.
Braxton Locker trying to pull that one in to the strike zone and didn't quite get it done.
As you look at the standings of where they sit, Pierre is sitting in 4th. Watertown right now is sitting in 7th. This is a big game for both these teams. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Outside, now 2-2. And Hinkle's done a good job of watching the last 2 pitches go through to even the count.
You have to believe that Cyrus was throwing those pitches to get him fishing a little bit. Now he's going to have to come back to the strike zone here real soon.
Coming set, here's the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss, and Hinkle goes down on strikes, and Watertown getting just 3 hits in the ball game. Win over Post State 3-2.
Score 3-2.
And Post State now 16-7 on the season. No runs on 2 hits in the inning. No errors and 2 men left on base. We'll step aside for 2 minutes and come back to wrap up game 1. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today it's KCCR. Today it's KCCR.com. Two minutes. As we welcome you back here to Watertown, first game is in the books. Watertown falls 3-2 as they gave up, or Post State falls 3-2 as Watertown picked up a 3-run homer from Mason Morris in the bottom of the 5th inning, and that was all that they needed as they had just 3 hits in the ball game. 4th, 5th, and 6th, they had 1 hit each, and they scored the 3 times on that 3-run homer from Mason Morris. 3 runs, 3 hits, 1 error, and 3 men left on base for Watertown. 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors, and 9 men left on base for Post State. And Jim Lloyd, as he joins me here for this first ball game, there's your difference right there. You left 9 guys on base for Post State, 3 for Watertown, but that 3-run homer, the difference.
Yeah, 1 swing of the bat was a difference in this whole game. Not an overly productive day for Watertown, but when they needed it, they got that 1 swing of the bat. Mason Morris with a 3-run shot.
Cale Stevenson went 6 in the 3rd inning, giving up 2 runs on 9 hits, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. Jared Cyrus came in the ball game, got the final 2 outs and the 2 men he faced, and had 1 strikeout. Jack Van Camp went 6 innings, gave up 3 runs, all earned on 3 hits, 4 walks, and 5 strikeouts. As Post State unable to get the win, now at 16-7. Watertown now at 13-8. Watertown has a chance to go 2-0 here this afternoon, as if they would, or this evening when they play Fargo, and Post State will play the Fargo Post 2 here in just a little bit, as that game was technically scheduled at 3:30. I don't know if we will get started a little bit early because it's 2:46. Half an hour from now is way from now, as Post State will try and get back to 10 games over 500 if they can get the win over Fargo Post 2. Jim, I appreciate you joining me here in this broadcast. It was a lot of fun to relive what it was in hockey, and this is a much better ending in terms of we actually got through with what we were wanting to do.
Yeah.
As you're going to join me for all those games for the state hockey tournament, turned into then only getting 2 hockey games, and thankfully we get this full game in, and we're not going to be done for the rest of the night and for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that broadcast will be one that we always remembered with our the COVID, what I call COVID season starting at that time when we were down in Sioux Falls for the state boys hockey and got cut short. But I really appreciate the invite today. It's been nice to get back together and get back on the air with you.
Yeah, and I guess I know we'll cross paths again here in the hockey season, but hopefully everything's back to normal. I mean, we seem to be at normal here with baseball, but it seems like baseball is a little bit easier to try and get back to normal than it is for other sports and for the high school sports. So hopefully everything gets back to normal and we don't have to worry about any of that, but appreciate you joining me here this afternoon.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it once again. This has been a good time, and I'm sure we'll be sitting side by side once again.
Sounds good. He's Jim Lloyd. I'm John Winkler. We're going to step aside here for a little bit. We'll come back and we'll start to get you set for game 2 as Post State takes on Fargo. You're listening to Post State Baseball. Today's KCCR. Today's KCCR.com. Hey,